Welcome to the Return to Roots Mill to Vet podcast, your guide through the journey from military to veterans in the community. This podcast is dedicated to service members, veterans, and their families. Get ready for inspirational stories and experiences generously shared by our amazing guests. Stand by for the sound of freedom. Before we dive into today's episode, we want to remind you of two essential resources, the 988 National Hotline for Mental Health Support and the MYTT 365 app available at milltovet.com. Both are valuable tools to assist you in your transition journey. Now let's get to the show.
Return to Roots, welcome. Today, Mario Fields will be here with us. He is part of he retired after 26 years. He's a philanthropist. He's also a business and military consultant. And he's also part of the veteran group, which is a host of his own podcast, the Unarmored podcast. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Yogi, thank you so much. How much you charging to introduce me, man? I need a new keynote speaker.
You know, for you, we'll talk about prices.
He'll give you a short man discount.
I'll take whatever I can get. Inflation's high, man.
Hey, brother. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Mill to Vet tribe. Hey, brother, let's get out there and we're going to flip the script on you guys. What kind of books or media do you suggest our listeners to start digesting while they're in their transition?
Yeah, Chris. Well, first of all, again, thank you and Yogi for a wonderful Veterans Day tribute. You know, my wife and I, we really enjoyed it. We actually went and listened to it, by the way. So we listened to your live stream on your podcast. So appreciate that. And then number two, just building the podcast. A lot of people don't know, man, that it's like 70 or 80% of podcasts stop producing. Podcasters stop producing after 6 episodes. Yep. And you guys have been going strong past 6. So I just, yeah. Yep. Yeah, about 7, 8. Huh?
I feel like a little train that's like, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Yeah, because on the outside, people think it's easy. And then they go, oh, I can do that. They just come on the camera, kind of talk a little bit. And then they start doing it. It's like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all about the consistency, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's complex. But so thanks. But, of course, one, I'm going to recommend my own podcast, Unarmored Talk podcast. And here's why. It's because it's a podcast that you can listen to the guest and listen to how they thought through emotional life challenges. It's a human podcast. And anyone that's transitioning, changing careers, you can just get in a car accident overnight. Maybe you go to the doctors, they tell you got some disease. We can go on and on and on for the 8.5 billion humans on this earth, approximately. People who emotionally react to transitioning in life, they limit the outcome of situations. That's my belief. But thinking is a choice. And Unarmored Talk podcast has amazing guests since 2020 that come on the show, remove their armor, and have discussions without armor to help people improve situations while living. So that's my recommendation is if you want to improve your situation while living, get on Unarmored Talk podcast, check out some of those episodes. Trust me. You'll go, yeah, one, I'm not alone. And number two, wow, they thought through that and it improved the outcome. Yeah. So now as far as the book goes, the book that I would recommend that anyone reads is called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. It's an interesting book, but it's a very thought-provoking book. The reason why I bring that up because Blink, it creates a framework for you to challenge your own biases and your own beliefs. And what I've seen with a lot of transitioning service members in all branches, we, including me, we have these sets of beliefs that we develop in the military, but that doesn't mean they're true. Yeah, that doesn't mean the true. And a lot of times, if you don't self-reflect and challenge your belief system to see if it's false or true, and then then to change it, it can cause a lot of turbulence and keep those seatbelt signs on for quite some time. Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.
So that's a great recommendation. I want you guys to do something. Take an action right now. Open up your Audible, open up your Libby, which is for free. You can do it through your local library, Libby. It's a great app. And download that book. Take action on the stuff that we give you. So it's great. I love it. And subscribe to Unarmored Talk.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, all you guys got to do is put Mario P. Fields in the search engine. It all comes up like 5 pages on any search engine. So that's YouTube channel's got 7,000 subscribers. Unarmored Talk playlist is on it. Mario P. Fields search engine. You ain't even got to look no more. Just start hitting buttons.
Like it. So, Mario, what if you could go back to your before the military younger self and you could give yourself one piece of advice to make your military career successful, what advice would that be?
Yeah, if I can give myself one piece of advice, it would. I had children young, so for me, I was already married at 19 and a child on the way. So right. So for me, looking back at 18. The advice I would give myself is that if you get married and you have children, they didn't ask for this life. They didn't have a choice. They're not the ones who volunteered to serve. So remember that if you, which I did a year later, but that's the advice I would have gave myself at 18 is, hey, Mario, congratulations, you earned the title of United States Marine. But let me tell you something. If you decide to get married and have children, they didn't ask for this life unless you marry a veteran, which Nicole, my wife, was on active duty, but the kids didn't ask for this. So be a little bit more intentional in being dad, being a parent, and really, really removing that military flavor, if you will, that belief system and lifestyle. Kind of block and tackle that from them and let them kind of become their own people, and not so much what you believe they should be based off of your military experiences.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
With that valuable insight, what advice would you give yourself, and how early before your transition and your reintegration, obviously before retiring?
Yeah, Yogi, I got lucky. Because I was always a curious person. I was always mature by other people's standards, but I was always curious. I wasn't a rigid thinker. I was always trying to learn from people, especially those people, I used to say older, but now I'm almost 50. So people who are wise. And I'll never forget about my 10-year mark in the Marines. It was a Master Gunny, Vietnam vet, if you will. He's about to retire. And he said, when are you going to start transitioning? And I said, Master Guns up. I'm only at 10. He goes, you didn't answer my question. When are you going to start mentally transitioning? And I said, probably about a couple of years before I hit 20, if I do 20. He goes, too late. He said, you need to start mentally transitioning right now. And I listened to him, Yogi and Chris, and I did. Behind the scenes, I did at the 10-year mark. And so if I did not receive that advice from that E9, that Master Gunner Sergeant, or if I was rigid, right? Oh, here comes the old guy. Here they come. The higher ups are coming. If I was like that, I would have probably started to mentally transition out about a couple of years before I retired. And then I would have said, Yogi, I would have gave myself advice to mentally transition out a decade before I started.
No, that's awesome. That really is.
That's what happened.
Wow, that do you still keep in touch with him?
No, because at that time, I only had 10 years in, and at that time he was at like 31, so he retired, then I got orders, and it was just in passing.
Right.
So I wish I would have, but that I never forget it.
That's extremely valuable. I wish there were more people like that we serve with. Wow, that's
Yogi, and I gave back. There was a lot of people I snatched. I was like, God, I gave back. I was like, hey, come here, come here, Lance Corporal. Yes, Sergeant Major. I'm like, well, when are you going to start transitioning? They're looking at me like, what the hell is he talking about?
You never thought about
Take
something
this
else
day.
from training. They're like, Sergeant Major's trying to get me to transition, guys. He was getting flack in the barracks for that. You know that, right?
Hey, that's why I got so many fans on social media. They like he was good to go. Because they knew there was something behind it. They knew I cared. So the Marines who knew me, and the sailors and civilians, like they said, Mario's not just going to, he's going to teach you something. And then I would tell them the story that we all started transitioning when we graduated boot camp by definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, our whole entire career is nothing but transitions.
That's all it is. Hey, soon as you graduate Great Lakes or San Diego back in the day, or Paris Island or San Diego, soon as you graduate and they go, congratulations, sailor, congratulations, airman, Marine. That's the day your butt started transitioning out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think, man, that we don't hear that very often from senior enlisted talking to junior guys. And that's a very valuable lesson. And that's something that I was taught younger, was to always have a plan while you're in, and always have a plan for when you're getting out. And don't just write a plan down, actually take action towards it. And it's a passion of mine to help people find how they're going to figure out how to transition out. And it's really from the get-go, you need to be leveraging your GI Bill. You need to be leveraging your TA. You need to be leveraging your cool program, whatever it is, whatever credentialing. You need to be leveraging your VA loan. You need to be leveraging all these different things that can set you up for the future, either for a job or, hey, you don't really have to work if you set yourself up. We all PCS, we all transfer, we all go through the whole entire season of all the Marines are moving around from one station to another. Sailors are going to different commands. If we were to buy a rental house at every single place, I mean, if we took the time and we bought like that duplex or we bought that triplex and we were to actually hold on to them and strategically start ourselves up, you don't have to work when you're done.
Chris, you're looking at them. That's exact. That I don't work. And people go, so what do you do? I make money doing meaningful things. That's not work. And just like you said, I listened to folks like what you just mentioned, Chris, and I gave that back too. My wife and I bought a couple of properties near military installations. We sold a couple, and here we are in our late 40s. And both of us are independent, and we make money, but it's not work. And we're not even 50.
Yeah. Yeah. And it starts from day one. So, that's fantastic, brother. How did you get into that mindset? You talked about you were starting at 10 years, but getting into the actual mindset of, okay, this is it. I'm transitioning. What was it that got you into that mindset?
So I did not. What I did was I used other people to learn from, man. See, what I saw is a lot of people who tried to make decisions and develop plans on their own. they're not leveraging all the resources around them. And what I did was I started interviewing and listening to the older people. What mistakes did you make? You know, how did you fail at this? Why do you believe you failed? You know, what was one of the struggles that you experienced after 30 years, after 4 years? I've been interviewing people for years because I'm like, look, there's a thing called wisdom. You can't get it in college? I mean, you know, what semester are you going to take? A semester of wisdom? I mean, good Lord, let me sign up. And Chris and Yo, that's what I did. I said, I'm going to interview, I'm going to use some wisdom and some common sense. And I'm not going to make the same dang mistakes they made. And that's what I started to do. They were like, you can be motivated as hell, Mario. That doesn't mean you still can't make a choice to learn new behaviors to transition out behind the scenes. And I learned from them instead of trying to figure it out by myself.
I love it, man. Use the tribe.
Yeah.
That tribal wisdom, brother. That tribal wisdom is strong. And that's why
It is.
Build your tribe. Like, man,
Chris, yeah. And I love you guys' motto, like you said, fighting homeless, incarceration, suicide, and more. It's the tribe. But you know what I found in my life journeys? People can say that so easy. Eloquent. They're so eloquent. Use the tribe. But then I go, well, show me what you're doing.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, man. So
I think one of the biggest things that I've always valued more about anyone, and I say it all the time, actions always speak louder than any words, because everyone can be super eloquent. Everyone can just give you and make you believe that the universe is full of rainbows and unicorns. But the reality of life is that there's a lot of challenges, right? But how you overcome those challenges and what you're actually doing to set the example is what makes you, not what comes out of your mouth. You know what I mean? I like it, man.
Yeah.
I knew there was a reason I liked you, Mario.
Yeah.
Well, we're the same height too, man. So come on, brother.
There you go. That's two things. There you go. We just need a third one.
You didn't have real high standards, you know?
Wow.
No, that's why I believe the good Lord. So I'm gonna give you this deep voice, because you may not have high standards, but boy, your voice deeper than half of the human males on earth.
So, I know you didn't find it after you transitioned, because it sounds like you found your purpose before. But what did it take for you to actually discover that purpose?
Chris, great question. So a lot of people don't know this, and just my belief, because they don't read my LinkedIn profile. I'm a part-time United States Department of Labor employment facilitator. And what that means, for over 2 years, I do a lot of employment workshop for transitioning service members and families and spouses. Well, I always knew I had a passion for helping people. I've always believed that I was a people's person, but I never had the science behind it until about 2 years ago, when I started this part-time job. And we do these assessments. They're called career scope assessments. And I'll give you guys the links and resources. When I did all the assessments at your Dr. Holland Ryeset codes, your career scope assessment of your knowledge, your abilities, and your work values, my friend, it gave me all the science. I'm not joking. All the reports came back and said you are a beyond great fit for any industry that helps people. It even said podcaster, YouTuber, content creator. It validated why I didn't like my first job. And it validated why when they asked me to apply for the CEO position, I said no, because I don't like being a CEO. And when the assessments came back, it said CEO interest blank. abilities, high. What that means is I can do the job, don't enjoy it. It was 2 years ago when I did those assessments on careeronestop.org, onetonline.org. Oh, yeah. And I did all those assessments through science that it validated that is not my opinion. So I found my purpose through science, and I have turned down multiple job offers that does not align with my results.
I love it, man. I absolutely love that, because you set yourself up. You did all that work beforehand. You didn't wait till your 26 mark. You started at your 10-year mark 16 years before you separated from the military.
Yeah.
What did that allow you to do? Well, it allowed you to have the freedom that everybody craves is easily accessible if you do the hard things early in life.
Did you ever feel like you were 1 foot in and 1 foot out? Did you ever feel that it was conflicting?
Yeah. As you know, when it really became apparent to me, my wife, at my about 24-year mark, my wife actually, for the first time, she actually came up to my office and she said, "Mario, it's time to go." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Your natural talents and skills are not, they're not relevant in this industry, right? In the organization no more." She goes, "It's time to move them elsewhere." And when she did that, that's when I started to realize why there were certain things that really irritated me as a sergeant major. And then I started to self-reflect, and I realized that those things were irritating me for years. I just didn't know it. For instance, the more you get promoted, you hear people in the Marine Corps say, "Oh, the higher rank you go up." Maybe in the Navy too. The further you get away from the sailors, the further you get away from the Marines. Well, I didn't know that my number one personality code was social, which is I was born with it in my bones to be around people. So the further I was promoted away from people, the more irritated and not feeling meaningful I became.
Wow.
Yeah, Yogi. So I didn't, like sitting in 2-hour and 3-hour meetings. I hated that. And I used to wonder why.
Mm.
And now I know why. Is because the more I was not allowed to be around to help people, the more it was going against my natural personality. Where other like senior enlisted, if their natural personality, let's say they were a thinker, right? Let's just say they were conventional, which is like these are thinkers. These are people that are very investigative. That they're not really, they don't really care if they're around a lot of people. They did just fine. Where I'm going, oh my God, another meeting?
A meeting for the next meeting.
And it's all science. So so I didn't even realize that as I kept getting promoted and moving more further away from people, that I didn't even realize that I was already conflicting with my job responsibilities.
And there's the whole entire meeting thing, man. There's an art to meetings. And it's something that you think that we would be really good at being in the military, but egos stroke other egos, and everybody's got to have a time with a talking stick, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is my chance to shine. I'm going to make this meeting a 20-hour meeting."
Oh.
I'm so important, but it's I get it, man. The art of meetings, 15-minute meetings, it's like the perfect amount of time.
Chris, the beauty of now, I own my own companies, and the beauty of now that I own my own companies, my meetings are Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Let's hit the couple of 2 or 3 high points. I love you guys. All right. See you guys. Let's go.
I'll hang out over here if you guys want to talk to me offline. And then that's it.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah. And there's a art to allowing, like, hey, let's cut to the meats and potatoes and then cut out BS afterwards. But that's no longer part of the meeting.
Yeah. And again, they were necessary. There was nothing like wrong or right with the meetings. It was just, I didn't know that my personality code is social like that. I'm high, man, in social. And the meetings were restricting me from doing what's in my bones. And that is going out. Hey, how are you? That's why I do so well in my nonprofit. I'm helping people. It's fun. I'm helping people. And I didn't realize that these meetings or, this event, if I wasn't helping people or I wasn't, then it was like, okay, when is this going to end?
Yeah, no, I get it. So tell me, you just kind of revealed a little bit of a nonprofit. So tell me, what is Still Serving?
Yeah, Still Serving Incorporated. I founded that in August 7th of 2018. And the mission of Still Serving Incorporated is to help students in low-income communities break the cycle of poverty, man. And we believe that if we can help students in low-income communities break the cycle of poverty, then we can help the world break the cycle of poverty. And so that is the mission. And it's wonderful. I mean, we've been partnered with our school since 2018. And here's the beauty of Still Serving Incorporated. I provide a budget, right? Our fundraise. I'm a self-funder too, and I meet with the two principals. And I said, hey, we have, every school year we have about $5,000 to $6,000. What do you need that money for? And it has to be a scholarship, a skill development opportunity, like networking, etiquette, like we're doing now, virtual networking, soft skills, man, vocational skills, things that develop them and prepare them for life in the academic setting or labor market in those soft skills. It has to be one of those. They go, Mario, we're doing a networking event or a trip to Washington, D.C., or we have a student that needs a scholarship for cosmetology. We run them through the assessments and everything else, and I pay for them. So all the money that comes in, Still Serving Incorporated, it pays for those events. As a matter of fact, we're about to do one December the 4th. The total bill for this etiquette event at the Hilton in Greenville, North Carolina is about $2,500, and we have the money. So I told the school, don't worry about it. Send the invoice to Still Serving Incorporated, and we stroke the check.
From your perspective and working with this since 2018, what is the biggest thing that you think that society or whatever could be changed to make an actual effective break in the change, of the chain of events that keeps repeating itself over and over again? What do you think the single biggest thing is?
Yeah, access. And that's what Still Serving is doing. Access to funding, access to global networks. Those students don't get a vote. I mean, they didn't choose their parents to, to make decisions they've made. The students didn't get a vote. So they need organizations and corporations and people like us to believe in them. And it's access. And that's what we do. It's access. If they have access to information, access to resources, access to networks, access to money, access.
What really I picked up out of that too, man, is someone that believes in them. I really feel that you reflect a lot of that. It's amazing when you think that you're going to face some serious adversity or something that's like really dark and scary, and that could be even going into a college situation, or that could be applying for a trade, or that could be even applying yourself in school. Even if you just had somebody that's in your corner saying, hey, bud, I believe in you. That's a big thing.
Chris, has been powerful. I mean, we have impacted over 620 students thus far, and I have to share this. You know, here I am, the founder and president. I've gone up to those schools many a time saying, "I believe in you." You know, we just did check donation ceremonies for both schools recently in the last few months. But last year, at this time, I was in ICU. This time last year, fighting for my life. I did a podcast episode on my on Unarmored Talk, and you can see the video on YouTube. I released it December of last year, but I had a staph infection in my bloodstream. I was being poisoned, and I had no idea. The doctors to this day don't know how that staph bacteria got into my bloodstream, and so I was in ICU from November the 7th until almost Christmas. I lost 57 pounds. My organs were shutting down, and I was in ICU here in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And then November the 14th, which is tomorrow, they said, you're dying. So they had to move me to Portsmouth. And I didn't see that coming. And so you mentioned that because here I am, combat veteran, all this good stuff, showing those students that someone cares, our organization cares. And then here it is, I am like having coffee with death at Starbucks. It's just death offered me a ride when we got done with our coffee. And I said, nah, I'm good, man. I'll Uber home. I said, you and I will have a discussion, but not right now. But the moral of the story, you know what those students did? All the students wrote me a personal notes, and they mailed it to the corporation. Now here I am, 50 pounds lighter, PICC line, wondering what the heck just hit me. I'm the one showing them someone cares. And then all of the students said, we care about you too. I mean, it's not just And our dream and hopes, Chris and Yogi, is that other folks will see our business model. They'll see that it's a model where we don't fundraise a lot because it's a lean model, and it's a model where when you donate, it's restricted. It goes to exactly where it's going, and it's not about how much money. It's not about a nonprofit that's bringing in millions and billions of dollars. That's why I don't have grants. I built this self-funding strategy, but it's about the memories that will outlive all of us when we're long and gone, but they will never forget. Man, when I was on this earth, at least someone cared about me, and they served in the military too, which is also becoming rare.
Right. That's fascinating, man. And so what started this idea of this project?
Yeah. You know, when I was overseas, and I spent a lot of time overseas, I wouldn't have a problem getting the Marines and sailors and everyone together. Let's go do a ComRail, right? A community relations project. I mean, we hit, Israel back in the day when I was on the George Washington, Singapore, Philippines, you name it, Cambodia, and we would go through these community relations projects in low-income communities. And we would do, you guys know what I'm talking, you've done them.
Yeah.
And so I come back to the United States one day, and I picked my daughter up from East Carolina University up in Greenville, North Carolina. We're driving out of the parking lot, and before I had to make a right turn or left turn, I looked straight ahead, and I said, my daughter's name is Miranda. I said, Miranda, is that an elementary school? And she says, yes. I said, is it condemned? And she said, no. And right next to this school is the Dowdy Sports Complex for East Carolina University. That's like this $1 million complex where the college, track, they would hold the track meets and the football games. And I'm like, Mario, what are you doing? What have you, and I self-reflected and asked myself, what are you doing? What have you done for the youth in America in low-income communities? Nothing. I said, well, I got to do something. I don't know what that looks like. And that's kind of, because you don't even want to see the mission of Still Serving back in 2018. I was trying to save the world, man. But that's what sparked it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then from there, did you get your family involved first? And how did that move forward?
Yeah. I mean, when you have a vision, and this is what I learned, Chris and Yogi, and I have Christian beliefs. When God gives you a vision, it's yours. People aren't supposed to see it. So my family is very supportive, but I can see the vision so clear that I think I started making them mad at me. They're like, oh, come on, man. And I don't blame them. And I had to pray. And I realized that, Mario, that's why it's called a vision. It's yours for a reason.
Bro, I love that, man. And I'm a man of faith as well too, brother. And I really do believe, when you get that vision, the vision that is brought to you, it's almost like it's hard for you to communicate to others because you have to go and act it. It's like if it was easy to communicate, then you could just give it to someone else, but it wasn't given to you to give to someone else. It was given to you to make sure that it happens. And for those of you that get this little feeling inside the back of their head, the back of their neck, and they hear like, man, I really wish I could do this. Don't wish. Do it. Do it.
Yeah. And Chris and Yogi, and I'm unarmored, right? I can't be the host of Unarmored Talk and not be unarmored. But a lot of people look at me and they go, oh, life was so easy, the journey, you guys so successful. Man, hell no. Our family was rocked with deaths and mental illness and, and marriage challenges. And we got adult children, and good Lord. And so there was a lot of turbulence, and I will share with you that, and I hope your listeners and viewers take this for action. Not only go get a therapist for you, but if you're married, get a marriage counselor. And those things really help, and they're still helping. My wife and I see our marriage counselor, man, and I love it. Matter of fact, you know what we do? When I talk to my marriage counselor, I go, I need to continue to unpack me so I can be a better man the next 80 years. You ain't got to go into counseling pointing fingers.
Yeah.
So so a lot of people go, oh, successful business 2018, but good Lord. And there was a lot of days I was like, what the hell am I doing? I didn't want to do this. I wanted to help children. I didn't want to build a business.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that wasn't in my transition plan, Chris and Yogi. I said, I want to help people. I don't want to build it.
Right? But you'll notice that once you actually start taking action, things start happening. And then you go, well, now I got people to my left and right. People were sent to me. I don't know where they came from, but they came.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you start on your vision.
And Chris, I got rid of the word good or bad. Like I got rid of the words, people were brought into my life and they were good or bad. Oh, I got rid of those words. I was like, there was a reason why I experienced that with you, and I'm thankful for it. Yeah. Whatever emotion that came out of it, I'm just thankful for this journey, because I look back, so many people, I'm going, I'm so happy you came in my life. Now, I didn't like you when you first came in, but I'm thankful you did.
So it's hilarious you say that. Today, as I was driving in to come into the podcast, I was reflectioning So the last 2 years when I was in Japan, very difficult, right?
Yeah.
And you wanna have some kind of negative connotation, negative feeling with some people, whatever, right? But then if it wasn't for those people, I wouldn't be here right now doing these things, right? So I'm grateful, just like you said, I'm grateful for what came out of them. Could I think about that then? Absolutely not. Will I ever talk to those people? Absolutely not either. However, I am grateful that I had that experience that pushed me to where I am now. And I was telling that to my wife because we were talking on the way home. And I was like, if it wasn't for these people, I would have not been able to be here and share this with everyone and have these experiences. And for us, that was absolutely beautiful. So thanks for bringing that up, man. I like it.
Hey, Yogi, I tell people, when somebody give me the finger now, I go, thank you. I'm number one. That's the finger you chose, man.
Hey, I see this little video that keeps popping up. It's a voiceover on LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, but Instagram or whatnot. And it's you post something on social media, and you get 10 likes. Then you post it on what, Facebook, and you get 10 likes. You post it on Instagram, you get 400 views. This moral of the story is not everybody likes you, but they're all watching.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that your biggest fans are the ones that are looking for you to fail.
Yeah.
They're still fans.
And you need them. They keep you sharp.
And they keep you motivated too.
Yeah, because, one of my buddies, I can't remember, he told me this. He goes, have you ever heard of the 1/3 rule with humans? I'm like, nah, man. He said, 1/3 of humans in the world, no matter what, will love the hell out of you. Yogi, you can go to your local McDonald's and tell them all their burgers suck, and everybody will be like, Yogi, we still love the hell out of you. And those burgers probably.
Yep.
And then there's a third, they said, that's in the middle. They be like, I like Chris, but I don't like Chris, but I don't hate Chris. It's just something about Chris. I just can't put my finger on it. Chris ain't done nothing to nobody. And then there's the bottom third. No matter, you can save world hunger. They be like, I can't stand Yogi and Chris. That podcast is horrible.
Yep.
Good.
Chris and Yogi just cured homelessness with veterans. They just stopped the suicide rate, and everybody's out of jail.
But we still don't like them.
Third, and they going, I don't care. I still don't like them.
So it's funny, Chris, when we first released our 4th episode, I want to say 4th or 5th, somewhere around that. He comes because we were living together at the same house at the time. He's so excited. He's like, Yogi, we got a hater. We got a hater. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean a hater? He's like, yeah, we got a hater. That means we made it. That means we're good to go.
I was pretty excited about our first hater. I was like, yes. I'm like, yes, I love it.
You know, it's the beauty. So all of my stuff is monetized. So I think people figured it out. The beauty is that once it's monetized, as soon as they click or say anything, I'm like, ooh, you just gave me a donation. Thank you so much. or this one, they stopped messing with mine because I would do this. They go, that video suck. I go, thank you. What do you mean?
And let them explain and do it all over again and all over again. Yeah.
You know what I meant. I just want to gain a better understanding. I wouldn't be asking. So please help me get better. And if you could do me a favor and send me a link to your YouTube channel so I can learn from you, that would be so amazing.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Oh, wait. I already looked at your YouTube channel and you have nothing in your content. Don't worry. I subscribed.
Yeah, because you know the deal, Chris. You know, because again, and I did a video on my YouTube channel on my pro tip playlist, and they said, how do I handle negative feedback? And I said, first of all, remove the word negative. That's a man-made word. I said, feedback is feedback. I said, only thing I do is if I want to gain a better understanding of what you mean, then I'm going to ask you. If you can't articulate what you meant, then you're confused. And therefore, hopefully, before you die, you can become accurate. But I got to go.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man. I love it.
You got time. I don't emotionally react to people. I respond. And that's the one thing about in social media. Once people started to, I believe, see that through the thousands of comments, they just started leaving my platforms alone. They were like, he doesn't react. I'm just going to ask you. I learned that from children. What do you mean? they don't talk. What do you mean? And their eyebrows go up. What do you mean?
And they know exactly what you mean, but they're like, I'm testing you. I'm testing you. Or I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Because if you can't articulate what you meant, then you don't even know what you meant.
Yeah. If you're just angry, if you don't feel all the emotions or anything, that's one of the biggest things. And I love the fact that you mentioned about mental health and getting a therapist, and the same thing for marriage counseling, because that is one of the biggest things that brings you awareness of, especially of your blind sides, right? You have your own perspective, and no one is going to change your perspective. However, someone who is impartial and tells you and talks to you about your blind sides, then you're able to communicate and say, oh, maybe I am flawed. Maybe I do need help with some things and I can improve. But if you hear it from your best friend or from your neighbor or whatever, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm smarter than you. And it's flawed. I like it, man.
You know, one thing I want to put out and mention is like a lot of people are like hesitant to go get that help. And it's incredibly vital that people do go get that help. And here's the thing. A lot of people think that they're going to be defined for getting help as somebody with a mental health issue. But you're human. If you didn't get injured from all the craziness that you went through while you're in the military, and then not just that, but also the whole entire process of getting out, because now you're getting that whole entire, well, no, I'm no longer this anymore, and that's a big part of your life. You know, you change going into the military. You're a Marine. Now you're going to become a civilian. You're losing your identity. I get it. You guys say once a Marine, always a Marine. Hoorah. I get it. But you're still changing, and they're going to move on without you. And they're going to be continuing on the mission, and you're going to be starting a new mission. And you need to talk to somebody about that and deal with that.
And it's not just that. It's also about all the baggage that you've been carrying, everything, being able to finally get that out of your chest. The military, we do great at compartmentalization. We're fantastic, especially the longer you in, the more institutionalized you become. We are great, but we're not great at actually offloading our baggage.
Yeah, you know the two things that, one, when I was in, I used to say, you know what's interesting is y'all have the courage. You know, we can go back to the USS Cole, you know, when it was bombed. Sailors had courage, man. You know, I've been on naval vessels. courage, won't hesitate to go and run down to any catastrophic event. Will put there, knowing that the probability of you dying is high, you still full speed ahead. You know, the Marines, the Army, whatever, you know, you forward deployed, running to the sound of gunfire. Courage, got all these combat Vs and this and that. You ain't even got the courage to go to the 4th floor in Okinawa and Naval the hospital on campus. But Boston. I used to tell them, because I did. I walked right in there, man, in uniform. They looked at me like I was visiting people. I was like, what's going on? They was like, who you here to see? And I said, my psychologist, I got an appointment. When I walked in, that guy, this is camp. This was on Foster, the new naval hospital over there. When I walked in, that guy was like, you're in uniform. I said, am I supposed to be naked? What am I supposed to be in? He goes, Sergeant Major, senior folks don't come in uniform. I said, why am not them? I have courage. So not only do I have courage to do what the nation wants me to do, I got courage to see you and sit on your couch. So let's, I said, and I went back and told my CO, I said, hey, my next fitness report, you better give me the highest remark you can give me in courage. And so I just do that. I'm like, all y'all walking around here, I'm 5'2". You guys walk around here lifting weights and, 6 foot. And, y'all ain't even got the courage to take your little feet, walk in there. It's the 4th floor. I can show you guys where it's at. So that's the first point. The second point is what you, Chris, and you and Yogi highlighted. What I found since I've been out and what I started to work on is unpacking childhood stuff. Stuff that happened in the first 18 years of your life that you didn't even know you brought into the military. The military, whatever things you experience, that is just like a bunk bed. That's just stuff. That's your childhood is the bottom rack.
Yeah.
That first 18 is the bottom rack. And unpacking that stuff to see how that stuff is starting to tie into the other stuff. And I tell you, it's been extremely helpful for me to start unpacking the things, in my childhood. They all don't have to be traumatic, but just little things that you're like, that no wonder why I'm like that, or no wonder why that irritates me about someone, or no wonder why I'm rigid, or I feel like I need to be hurt. Oh yeah. And so that's kind of my two things is that being courageous and not really caring about, it's your personal brand, man. And having some courage, and then really unpacking your childhood. It doesn't have to all be bad. That's your belief, but unpack it. Let's go back. When you were 7, what happened? I forgot to put lotion on my knees at the basketball game, and I was real ashy.
I met what was his name? It was Jeff. Hold on, give me a second. I'm cheating here. I'm on my phone.
Oh, you're good, man.
While he's doing that, there's a study that I just learned about, right? And it's regardless of socioeconomics or anything, which also affects us, right? But regardless of that, if you have, it's a test that they do that most people have one trait, right? And if you have one trait, your life is shortened, right? And then if you have 4 traits, your life is like super shortened. And then if you have 5 or more, basically you're walking dead, right? Or that you're going to have obesity and cancer and all these other things. And when I looked through that study, it was fascinating because, one, we never talk about that, right? And a lot of us, especially in the military, we have, just by signing up, we have 3 or 4 of those traits, right? Or we've been exposed to 3 or 4 of those things.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, once you actually retire, if you don't take the chance to unpack it, if you don't take the chance to actually go through, that's what makes it even more painful for you and your family. And then one of the things is also that your ability to face that gives your family more time with you and quality time with you. So yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for bringing that up.
So I was sitting in a conversation with this guy named Jeff Bromstead. Yes, was it today's Monday? So yeah, yesterday. And what you just said was exactly what he was talking about. So it's crazy. And for our listeners, Jeff Bromstead is with Life of Valor. Look him up. Pretty cool dude. He'll tell you about 15 times he's a Navy SEAL, as all Navy SEALs do. But he is a fantastic person to listen to and get the right mindset on some things. But he talked about how he dealt with his childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And he talked about how that released him. So it was really phenomenal to hear you also say that. And it's just so funny how when because I'm a man of faith, I believe things happen for a reason. Conversations happen over and over and over again. And it's not just like I bought a Toyota and all of a sudden I see a bunch of Toyotas. No, but it's just funny how the same conversation about unpacking your childhood issues, your childhood, and it's not your issues. You were just living in a bad situation. We all have some form of things that we need to unpack, because if we don't unpack it and we don't deal with it, what that can do is that could leave a gap, a hole for that self-doubt and that I can't do this mentality to come in if we don't unpack that and deal with it. So that's fantastic, brother. I really do appreciate you bringing that up, man.
Yeah. No, and one last thing on that one, for instance, my dad is very quiet. I love, my mom and dad were married for years. Dad's a provider, but no emotions, no empathy, just quiet. You don't know what he's thinking about. And I hated it. I'm like, dude, talk. But he just, I provide, I work, I provide. I've done my job as a man. Your mom's the talker, So let's just take that one trait that I grew up not realizing. I hated quiet, people who don't talk. What the hell's on your mind? Well, what I started to find is I started to lash out on my wife over the 28 years of our marriage, not realizing, because my wife is actually, she has to warm up to you, but she's quiet. She's she's okay with being in the living room for hours and not really say much, and it used to bother the hell out of me. Or if we go on a long trip, I'm like, what the hell is on your mind, woman? And she'd go, dang, nothing, Mario. Like, just because everybody don't talk like you. And I would get mad, like, okay, well, how's the cow that we just passed? You good? Let's talk about it. But and this is true. But what I found is it wasn't Nicole's inability to conversate. It was me not addressing that trait that I hated. And then I was manifesting it, man. And I was manifesting it on her. Like, that's one of many little things that if you don't go back and start to unpack, you can ruin your relationship with your sibling, your wife, anyone. And now because I started to do that, now I'm super comfortable with us just chilling, man, ride. And, after 35 minutes is, what's up? You want a steak? But it had nothing to do with her.
Yeah. It was all you. You were projecting.
I was projecting, and it was going all the way back that I just recently realized that it was that trait. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this. My last girlfriend, I hope she ain't listening. I'm joking, but my last, way back when, because I would, if I was dating, you in high school and you didn't talk, I gave them 3 red lights. And if they didn't say a word, the 3rd red light, I dumped them. Now that I went to church and asked for forgiveness. But that's true. And I never forget my last girlfriend in high school. I said it was quiet, man. And I was like, she got 3 red lights, dog. And we got to that 3rd red light, that sucker turned green, and I busted a U-turn. And I took her right back to her house. I said, you know what? This ain't gonna work. And she was like, what? What ain't gonna work? I'm like, our relationship is just rocky. It wasn't even rocky, dog. I was like, just a little earthquake, little turbulence.
Oh, man. What is up with us high talkers and high eyes that attract the quiet types?
I just know for me,
balances, man.
Well, yeah, I need a balance, but because Nicole and I actually more alike than we're different. But for me, it was because of my dad, and it's because I just didn't. I couldn't stand trying to figure out what's on your mind, bro. Like, I love you, Dad. Me and my dad have a great relationship, but to this day, I don't know what the hell's on his mind until he starts to talk, and then I'm like, when did that happen? Oh, Mario, I didn't tell you. No.
You never said anything.
Man. Well, hey, I think we should get into the saved rounds and alibis. Do you have anything that you want to throw out there before we cut to getting your contact information out there?
Yeah. Last thing I would love to throw out there is life is an individual journey. So if you're transitioning, if you're a veteran, just remember no one's transition, no one's journey is the same as anyone else's. There's about 8.5 billion humans on Earth, and there's 8.5 approximate galaxies. So don't compare. It's an individual journey. And don't fly your plane by yourself, man. Use your network and let them work for you, because when you ask for help, believe it or not, you may be actually blessing people in your network to help you. A lot of folks like to help. And when you create that opportunity, you're actually being a blessing to them. And that's my last round.
I love
Beautifully
it,
said. Beautifully said.
All right. So how do we get a hold of you? How do we find your content?
Yeah, too easy. You guys can go on ParadeDeck.com. That's ParadeDeck.com. I am a content creator on that platform. I have my own landing page. Again, you can search Sergeant Major Mario P. Fields Parade Deck, or you can go on, again, ParadeDeck.com. And all of my social media is on that one page. So from TikTok to Instagram to, the podcast audio, YouTube channel, all social media is on that one page. And that's ParadeDeck.com, ParadeDeck.com.
I love it, brother. I love it. All right. Mildevet fam. It's not all rainbows and unicorns out there. It is your transition. So take charge of it. Return to roots. Mildevet out. Those damn balloons, man.